Good evening. Sitting with you tonight from North Central Florida. And just to give a land acknowledgement, the home of the Timucuan, Patano, and Seminole people. And it's also the place where my teachers, Valerie and Scott, came for many years to lead sesshin for our Florida Sambo Zen group from, probably over a decade and a couple of times a year. I'm grateful for Scott's introduction, but truly he and Valerie have been just profound influences on my path and continue to be so. So thank you. Deep bows. And I'd also like to say hello to some Florida folks who are here. I did see Bob and Debbie and Raihan. And did I miss anybody? Oh, so good to see you. Just one Sangha in one sitting. And as it happens, today is September 11th. So I'm going to be a little bit courageous today as an assistant teacher and really kind of dive into the heart of a lot of things that are going on in the world right now. September 11th, of course, is a date that's imprinted on all of us as a solemn day, a day of tragedy and remembrance, and certainly a day to reflect on the possibility of actualizing peace in this land. It comes this year, unfortunately, in the midst of a poly crisis. There are geopolitical tensions, gun violence, ethno-nationalism, climate change, economic instability, inequity, plus the normal challenges of life. And noticing that these personal challenges can't help but be exacerbated by the challenges that are collective due to this poly crisis. I mean, there's clearly no inside or outside. There's such interbeing at play, and it's palpable. In addition to it being 9/11, it's also 11 days before the autumn equinox. And there are telltale signs, I'm sure in New Mexico, certainly here in North Florida, that change is in the wind. And yet, with a string of continuous shootings over the past months, the latest, as I think everyone knows, being yesterday, and then today, the HBCU, Historically Black Colleges and Universities, a whole string of them were in lockdown across the country due to threats. It can feel like nothing is changing. From the disease and violence-fraught days of the Tang Dynasty, from which our koans were birthed, to the shots that are ringing out in present-day schools and neighborhoods, from the bombs that fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, to the bombs that are relentlessly pummeling Gaza and Ukraine in 2025. From the Great Famine in Ireland in 1845 to the current famines in Sudan, Gaza, Somalia, Yemen, Afghanistan, and let's face it, most inner cities in the United States, to the climate crisis with cataclysmic hurricanes, superstorms, and mega fires, floods becoming the norm. It begs the question, when will peace, unity, and recognition of oneness in all of our diversity, the great beauty that our practice shows us, when will it finally be actualized? Is change really possible? And can we, as Zen practitioners, becoming ever more intimate with the reality of constant change, facilitate this kind of change in our lifetimes? Been sitting with all of this the past 24 hours in a way to craft a navigation path for all of us, or maybe just a pep talk. And it brought to mind the seasons. I mean, maybe just the changing in the air right now. We have seasons each year, of course, and we have seasons of our lives. As we age, we really feel those. And of course, we have the eras of history, sort of seasons of war, peace, on and on. In our lifetime, we spend so many years in preparation for whatever the next season, I suppose, is going to be, right? We learn how to walk, and we learn how to talk, eat, function. We learn things in school, math and reading, science, philosophy. And we hope to, get wherever we're going to eventually end up, which is kind of funny because we spend the first part of our life dreaming about what we want someday. And then we spend the second part, if we're lucky enough to get there, dreaming longingly about what we once had. And amid all of that dreaming, life it's just presenting itself in its beautiful, abiding flux, just gifting us in every moment. And that's the gift of our practice. We get glimpses of this and more. The invitation is to experience it. While we worry about ourselves and others and the planet and her people and her beings, can we discover who we really are? That's it. One of my original yoga teachers a long time ago used the analogy of a mirror to explain this, who we really are, who that is. He said that it's at 5 years old, for example, we look in a mirror and we see a reflection. And at 10, we'll look in that same mirror, and of course the reflection is different. This continues throughout our lifetime, right? Each age reflects a different image in the mirror, but who is looking doesn't change. Does that one, as we call it in Zen, ever change? And I looked into it and I couldn't see any possible way that it could. And so this was a powerful metaphor for me in those yogic days of early meditation practice, and it guided practice into Zen for many years. But just like in the story of the sixth ancestor, Daikon Eno, or Huining, as most of us know him, and the head monk, Jinshu, this witnessing, unchanging observer still has an eye, someone to separate the ever-changing me from an unchanging witness. So some of us might recall the story of Huining. I'm just going to very quickly give the Cliff's Notes version of it, but it's like a precursor to Mumonkan case 23, think no good or evil, or think neither good nor evil. And so in this particular story, the short version goes, the fifth ancestor was coming to the end of his life, and he wanted a successor. And he asked the assembly for a verse from people who might feel worthy, particularly the head monk and other seniors in the assembly, to express their clearest state of realization. So from these verses that were presented, he would decide who his successor would be, but everybody just assumed it would be the head monk. Sure enough, the head monk was the first one to post a verse, and I'll read it to you. It said, 4 lines, "The body is like a Bodhi tree, and the mind is a bright mirror. Carefully polish it clean every day and let no dust on it." It's such a helpful mindfulness tool. So apropos with the mirror metaphor, and it's our boots on the ground practice right here in the Zendo, day in and day out, in each moment, with each breath. We hold space for our mind and our body, noticing when we've fallen out of present moment awareness and gently bringing ourselves back over and over again. It's extremely useful. And in difficult times like these, when the world is engaged in a polycrisis of Tang Dynasty proportions, we thankfully have a practice, and we can navigate these times with this gift of mindfulness, not losing the miracle of the way our breath flows in and out. How the play of light dances on my desk, how leaves rustle in a late summer breeze. It's all freely happening, even in the midst of collective and personal crises. I was really moved by an email that Henry Shukman Roshi sent out, one of his regular Dharma emails. It had this great subject line that read, "The great pivot of our lifetime." Here, he addressed this very place and purpose for our practice. And in it, he shared the first 2 lines of a poem by the Tang Dynasty poet Du Fu, right around 750 or so CE. Here are the 2 lines. "The nation is shattered. Mountains and rivers remain." The nation is shattered. Mountains and rivers remain. So here we are as things shatter, and we mindfully bear witness. No difference, no time, shattering, bearing witness. Mountains, rivers, great wide earth. Who is it that's holding space, bringing us back, or getting tangled up in thoughts and worry and fear and emotions? Who sees the reflection, feels the breath going in and out, picks up the shattered pieces, sees the play of light, hears the rustle of the leaves? Who is that one, as Master N of Tozan asks us in case 45 of the Mumonkan, who doesn't change, even as the activity, endless activity of each moment is born and dies as quickly as a vesper, while history seems to go on repeating itself. Just as I said that, I can hear Valerie Roshi's, she has these pearls, these lines I'm going to write a book about someday, but one of them, unique and unrepeatable. How can history repeat itself? How can we repeat anything? I can raise my hand up and put it down. And then I could do what we might call repeated action. Raise my hand again and put it down. But if you really look into it, nothing has been repeated at all. Right now, the hand is all of it. Past, present, future, shootings, hurricanes, life, death. This hand raised and gone. Perhaps Huining's answer to the head monk's poem will help clarify this, a little bit, help point us to what that means. So Huining read this beautiful verse by the head monk, this beautiful testament to our practice. And he responded with 4 more lines. He wrote, "From the start, there is no Bodhi tree, nor stand of a bright mirror. Buddha nature is ever pure. Where can any dust land?" And that is the heart of Zen, the heart of our practice, and the place we are invited, each and every one of us, to open our individual hearts to fully. This impossibility of the dust to land. So we do this in our dynamic daily life. We learn to sit with the unfolding of this often challenging life exactly as it is, unconditionally. To trust the wisdom and compassion that just seems to naturally cultivate and grow. And we find what ours is to do from that seat, literally from our seat. So, to explore this further, I wanted to take a quick look at case 19 from the Gateless Gate, or Mumonkan. Just a reminder, too, that it's really our sitting that shows us this way. These words are pointers, some more skillful than others, but all pointers. So, as Valerie often invites, just let it wash over you and continue your practice. Here's the case. It's called "Ordinary Mind is the Way." And it features some of our stars, Joshu and Nansen. So in this case, Joshu earnestly asked Nansen, "What is the way?" Nansen answered, "The ordinary mind is the way." Way, capital W. What is our true nature, true self? Joshu asked, "Should I direct myself toward it or not?" Nansen said, "If you try to turn toward it, you go against it." Joshu asked, "If I do not try to turn toward it, how can I know that it's the way?" How many of us can feel this earnestness? I want to know. I want to get it. Nansen answered, "The way does not belong to knowing or not knowing. Knowing is a delusion. Not knowing is blank consciousness. When you have really reached the true way, beyond all doubt, you will find it as vast and boundless as the great empty firmament. How can it be talked about on a level of right and wrong?" And at these words, Joshu was suddenly enlightened. So here we are in the midst of what feels like right and wrong, with our ordinary minds trying to find our way. What's next? In Zen, there is a regular call, an invitation. We hear it over and over again to entrust ourselves to this practice. Entrust the form, entrust the schedule, and just trust. And in addition to that, in order to find this way, know your true self, however you might want to call it, there are so many ways. Yamada Ryon Roshi has been regularly asking us to let go of ourself completely. This sounds paradoxical at first. We've spent a lifetime thus far protecting and fortifying and defining ourselves. And all these individual ourselves are in trouble right now, more than usual in these heightened times, deep in suffering. Letting go can feel like the last thing we'd want to do. And even if we did want to do it, it's not so easy. It's like taking a trust fall without being able to see that there are hands right behind you to catch you. We know, in our minds and our hearts, we know that there is a way. Those hands are there. We know it. But we can't see it. Nansen, in this koan, beseeches us to not exert our individual means. Where are they? I'm sure I can find them. But once again, to entrust ourselves to this practice, to allow the fall by allowing it all. To show up again and again, polish that mirror until both the mirror and the polisher can't tell each other apart anymore, until they drop away. Willfulness and seeking, longing, despair, helplessness are still free to exist, but they no longer can wield as much power. Their existence, along with everything else, along with our own, as our own, becomes empty, constantly changing. Right there, along with the feel of the breath, the play of the light on my desk, the rustle of the leaves. It's a taste of freedom. So there's a term that it's been coming up for me lately, but it's not one we use in Zen, but I'll just bring it up here, and maybe as part of our toolkit for navigating these times. The word is intuition. I come from this yoga background originally, and intuition's actually used quite a bit. It's related to both the solar plexus chakra and the third eye chakra. And really, what intuition is about, why it reminds me of our Zen practice, is that it has the quality of discernment. What is actually true? And can we respond naturally from there? Intuition, like everything else in our practice or in our experience, is also free. And we, therefore, are free to trust it. beyond the realm, as Nansen says, of knowing and not knowing, of right and wrong. We are free to respond to this world. Totally free. So with that, let's look at the verse to this koan. Very beautiful and poetic. 4 lines also. It goes, the spring flowers, the moon in autumn, the cool breezes of summer, the winter's snow. If idle concerns do not cloud the mind, this is a person's best season. Or another translation says this is a person's happiest season. Hence the title of this talk, The Best Season of Your Life. Thanks. What I love about this verse, it just takes us right into nature. It's part of our Taoist influence, right? In Zen, bringing our awareness home to nature, or looking to nature when we feel lost or ungrounded or separate. Our koans and our Zen poetry regularly draw from the natural world to remind us of this who we really are-ness. And just to be clear, this part of the verse that says, if idle concerns do not cloud the mind, it's not that our concern and our compassion and our worry, fear, at all the suffering that's happening is idle. It's not what it's saying. This koan and its verse invite us to respond from that place where there is no mind to get clouded. And even the cloudy mind itself is free. It's free. Can we fall into that, allowing it all? Where we simply are all of it. And that's you. You can't survive this place, this way, because you are it. You are peace in this land. So I was going to invite everybody to sing. I don't know. I've never done that before, but as soon as that came up, the birds and the Old Testament came to mind. I think you all know this song, right? To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. It goes on, a time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. You are the peace in this land. So to close, I'd like to read just one more passage from Henry Roshi's most recent Dharma email. He writes, it's here, right now. Some say it's the one thing that never changes, even while all there is change. To recognize it can offer the great pivot of a lifetime where we see another way than fear, craving, and suffering, and start to taste a path motivated by love, gratitude, service, and a desire to help. As Ruben Habito Roshi always says, we get up off our cushions and we find what is ours to do freely. Things are not so great right now, but we need not wait any longer for the best season of our lives. It's already here and always has been. It's who you are. And after all, there's only one season, one turning, one pivot. This one. May all beings know peace and happiness. Thank you so much for your practice and for the opportunity to share some words.